We have a question from a spiritual seeker. So they say, in 2011, I experienced what I now understand to be a dark night of the soul. My inner world began shifting dramatically from illusion to truth. In that process, I hardened parts of myself to survive, especially when I felt emotionally attacked. As an empath, I've often felt overwhelmed by anxiety and a sense of not belonging, and I suppressed my compassion to protect my heart. But recently, something has begun to soften. My perspective towards those who may have hurt me is shifting. I see now that many of them were in pain themselves. Compassion is rising again, but this time with awareness. Still, I carry a concern. This path feels long and at times lonely. Yet, I can feel a steady flame within me, urging me forward. So, you see, it is common to experience overwhelming emotions, anxiety during the dark night of the soul, because what has happened? The awakening has caused a crack in the structure of the personality. Now, the story was that others hurt me, this happened, that happened, and we live with that story our entire lives. We keep externalizing everything, and that externalizing leads to internalizing also. For example, we may have been hurt by our caretakers when we were young, when we were children, and since we didn't have any rational explanation as to what was going on, because we could not see the full picture of what they were going through, we internalized the message that I am unloved, I'm unworthy. So the hurt started building up within. Now that hurt was carried on into adulthood, and that deep-seated fear that we had within us was showing up in our relationships, in our association with other people. So we started saying, oh, they blamed us, they did that, they did this, they hurt me, they caused me anxiety, they tried to emotionally sabotage me. So this is the nature of the me mind that says, look, I am being attacked. Because it lives in survival mode, it lives in hurt, it lives in reactivity. So it just internalizes everything. It says, I am responsible, I am unworthy, I am not good enough. So this small me starts believing in its own limitation. It says, this is what I am. And throwing energy on other, saying that they are responsible for my unhappiness, is basically a defense of this small self or me. But then, because of the awakening, there was a crack in the structure of this me. Now what happened? Now all those stories did not make that much sense, because even when others are not around me, I am around myself. That means something is still hurting. I'm not comfortable with myself. And what I realize is that I am my worst enemy. It's not them, it's just me, it's all me. It's happening here. So what I do, instead of building boundaries, which actually comes from self-preservation and is a healthy part of living, I build walls. And walls isolate me from everyone around me. And I give justification. The small me gives justification that I am building walls to protect myself. But the entity that is trying to protect itself is the cause of its own pain. There is no pain or suffering or anxiety that is separate from it. The small me is the pain. The small me is the anxiety. But as you say, as you progress through this journey of life, you experienced that there is a shift in your perspective. And that shift was that now you saw that it's not that the people who were actually trying to hurt you, trying to cause discomfort in your life, were actually hurt themselves. So a natural compassion arose within you. Now they were no more an enemy of yours. They were no more an object who you used to separate yourself from. So what you experienced is peace, which is very natural. And this is the beauty of this message. It begins to destroy the separation. It says that there are innumerable forces acting on a human organism. Therefore, when I act or react in a certain way, there are forces acting on me that are beyond my rational understanding. And so is the case with the other also. When the other acts or reacts, either to me or to someone else, there are innumerable forces acting on that human organism at a given moment. So what is the result? The result is unpredictability. We don't know. They can be reactive, they can be calm, they can be anything. They can be anxious. But knowing this whole dynamic, we do not start internalizing, or we do not pin the blame on the other. Why did they act in this way? So yes, that begins to change. Now, since your own personality structure has cracked, you can also see the transparency in the personality structure of the others. The personality is not so concrete, so solid for us anymore, because there is an underlying recognition of consciousness, which is the same. So I will read further. There are also physical shifts, like my breathing, like my breath deepening, anxiety is lessening, my mouth drying more often, and a greater sensitivity in my body and energy. Are these the symptoms of awakening as well? Yes, all of these things may happen, but they may go up and down. So I do not get too concerned with the levels at any given moment. So anxiety may sometimes be more, but it may be less also. But you see, what happens in the moment. Overall, there is recognition of this peace which becomes one's natural feature. So just let your focus be on that is observing all this change. Just see what is the nature of that which is observing all of this. That is the deliverance that is the deliverance that follows awakening. So yes, these symptoms are there on the spiritual path. And then you say, I have responsibilities, especially as a mother of a teenage son. But I feel growing inner pull towards fully embracing who I truly am, not performing but simply being. I have felt that even my son is feeling more calmer around me with this little shift in energy. So you see, this is the beauty of this understanding. Once there is the recognition of consciousness, which is peace, once there is recognition that there is no personality on the other side, it is just images that are interacting with one another. One does not get caught up in the game of life. One does not blame the other for the perceived acts that they did. One does not blame oneself for what happened in the past. So one does not live with guilt or shame or pride or arrogance. And one does not hold malice or resentment towards the other for so perceived their actions, because no action was truly ours or theirs. It is all a happening. That's the understanding. So now this peace, this presence which you feel within yourself is growing. As you say, initially you hardened yourself to protect yourself, which was very natural, which is fine. Everybody goes through that. But then you realize that hardening yourself brought you more pain. It was not peaceful for you. So you let go of that whole structure which was creating this problem. You dropped your walls. Now you still have boundaries, because boundaries are healthy. They're a healthy part of daily functioning of relationships. But they do not come out of separation. They come out of self-preservation. So you experience now more and more peace as the walls are down, as there is more self-acceptance, as there is more self-knowledge, who you truly are. And awareness is doing its job. You don't even have to do anything. In this whole process, can you figure out this thing? You're not doing anything. It is all happening for you. It is being facilitated by the awareness itself. The awareness that broke you, the awareness that cracked you, is the one that is doing everything. You are not doing a single thing. You're not experiencing a single thing. You are that pure experiencing, that pure awareness that is happening here and now. So the load has already shifted up from your shoulders. You don't need to do anything, and let the awareness do its job, because awareness in any case is doing a beautiful, beautiful job. If you try to introduce your own methods or techniques, that would be interfering in the job of awareness. And we, with our limited mind, limited intellect, cannot decode the way awareness works, because awareness is vast and its data set is much bigger than ours. So as a result, your son is peaceful around you. And this is the best gift you can give to your child. Because now he has a mother who's emotionally resilient, who can remain calm at the sight of stress, which means the child does not learn that unconsciously from you. He does not absorb stress unconsciously from you and then probably struggle with that stress for the rest of his life. Your calmness is helping him be more calm, and that calmness will help him make wiser decisions in life. So that's why Ramana Maharishi said that your own self-realization is the greatest service rendered to humanity. When you are peaceful, everyone else is peaceful. So it is your responsibility to keep yourself calm and peaceful, even in the most challenging situations. When we lose our cool and when we give expressions to anxiety, which can happen sometimes, so it's okay, but when we just start giving expressions to restlessness and anxiety, what we do is we disrupt not just our peace, but also the peace of people who are around us, because they get worried for us, they get concerned for us. So your own internal turmoil actually affects everything around you. But if you are peaceful yourself, that is the greatest gift you give to the humanity. If you have this capacity to feel peace, you don't even have to transmit it, because peace by nature is radiant. Whoever is around you will feel peaceful when you are peaceful. So I will read on. I know the journey is still long, but I am ready to walk it, to do the work. My only fear is losing this inner flame in moments when life feels overwhelming. I want to protect it with everything I have. Is there something I can pray for? Some way I can invite grace to keep me strong? So here's the thing, you can never lose it because you never gained anything in the first place. Our whole suffering is identified because of belief in the belief with the false. When we understand that false is impermanent, we let go of it, we surrender it totally. And when the surrender happens, then the sunshine, the eternal vastness of pure consciousness shows up as peace. It was never gained, it was already there. So you did not gain anything, neither are you going to lose anything. So who is there to pray or worry about future? Ramana Maharishi's, one of his quotes is, engage yourself in the living present. The future will take care of itself. It is so beautiful. All the anxiousness comes from a future anticipation, from an imaginary future that has not happened as of yet. So the small self, the me, says, oh, I gained this and I'm afraid that I will lose it. But that is just the small mind doing what it's accustomed to doing, creating doubt. There is no scope for doubt here. Life will present with challenges. There will be overwhelm many times. Unfortunately, we cannot do anything about it because there is no way to bulletproof oneself from the bullets of life. So we will get hit, that's for sure. And we will experience pain. Sometimes it can be intense in the moment. I mean, we all see that we have to deal with death of loved ones, loss of relationships, and financial upheavals. These things will always be there. I mean, that's the flow of life. But you see, falling in love with this unpredictability is peace. So in the moment, the pain will happen, the emotional overwhelm will happen, the anxiety will also happen. But it will not stay. Because you as the wave have realized that you already are the ocean that you want to be. You say, I want to merge with the ocean. But the message here is that you don't have to even merge with the ocean because you already are the ocean. So you don't have to do anything. There's no work to do as such other than just be present and be here and now. That's the only work, if you want to call it work. Every time you get these overwhelming thoughts, every time you feel triggered, just bring yourself here and now. This is your home. This will never leave you. It is always accessible. So you see, grace is always there. Grace is here and now. It was always there, it is always there, and it will always be there. So when the mind comes up with a future image, disregard that image. That is the false. That is the unreal. That is the illusion. Do not invest in that imagination which is not real. And if the imagination says that I am small and limited and unworthy and undeserving and that I have not achieved it yet, just disregard all of that doubt that the separative mind, that the fragmented mind creates. Be here and now and see yourself as wholeness, as completeness. That is your true nature. So you did not gain anything, you're never going to lose it. You cannot lose it. So I hope that answers your question.